Good morning to all and one present here. I, Dr. Suraj Goyal from Department of Mathematics, welcome you all on the third day of ongoing workshop. Our resource person, Dr. Jitendra Singh, will continue with his third lecture. This morning section will be chaired by Dr. Ramu Dubey, who is presently a co-host of this session. So you may post any queries related to him regarding this third lecture. For attendance related issues, please you may post to Ms. Mahima or Mr. Praveen. They both are the co-hosts in this workshop. Yes, Dr. Ramu Dubey, sir, you can proceed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good morning to everyone. I welcome you again in the first session of the lecture of Dr. Jitendra Singh. I believe that your lecture will be surely a landmark for the participants. Dr. Jitendra Singh is enlightening you participant about MATLAB. Now, continuing this stream of knowledge, I request Dr. Jitendra Singh to enrich and enhance the knowledge of participants. Sir, please.
Dr. Dubey, and thank you, Dr. Suraj. Welcome again, dear participants. Last time we were discussing some basics about MATLAB. If you have any queries regarding what has been done so far, you can just put in the chat box right now. So I would like to have your doubts for first 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, sir, one of the candidate messaged me yesterday. He was asking you about your personal views about what is the comparatively better software among MATLAB and Mathematica. Because
yeah, well, it actually depends upon what you want to do with the given package. So if you have numerical evaluations in your mind, then certainly, according to my experience, MATLAB is the best one. And on the other hand, if you want symbolical manipulations, like symbolical mathematics, like if you want to integrate, you want to find out antiderivatives of certain function, then I think for that taste, Mathematica would be better than MATLAB.
Okay.
This is only my own opinion.
Okay, sir. And sir, the next question I was being asked from one of the student. I don't remember because all the numbers are unknown to me.
Yeah, I understand.
So yeah, so he or she asked, they will get to know about this Python software in the second week. So Python is basically an open software.
Yeah.
So even I don't know much about Python because I have used only a bit about. I only know a bit about Python. So the question was that is it comparatively equal to that MATLAB? Means they can start working in Python. She or he is already working in MATLAB right now.
Yeah, certainly. But there are some confusions because when you want to shift from one language to the other one or one package to the other one, some confusions arise because when you get used to MATLAB, programming, then there are certain rules of MATLAB, and similarly there are certain rules regarding this Python. So Python is little bit, the student will find it a little bit difficult than MATLAB.
Okay. And so right now
not so difficult.
Okay. Right now I got a question. Can we do Simulink in Mathematica?
Yes, of course, we can simulate in Mathematica, but again, if you compare the three, Python, MATLAB, and Mathematica, simulations, in fact, programming in Mathematica is much more difficult than is for MATLAB and Python. So that way, I believe that it totally depends upon the programmer or the one who wants to, what kind of calculations one wants to do with the given package.
Okay.
So for on priority basis, so Python and MATLAB I will put on equal level, same level. But Mathematica, I think for beginners at least, Mathematica programming is not so. So it's handy.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir, I'm not getting any more questions. If the students will ask, Dr. Ramu Dubey will ask you in between, and sorry, they will interrupt you in between your presentation. But again, another question, books on optimization MATLAB. I think you have answered this question yesterday.
Yes.
The optimization, there are a lot of books available on the Google. You can search for those.
I can recommend only, Dr. Suraj, I can recommend only those books which I have followed so far. So since
Yeah.
I do not see that I have precisely followed a book on optimization, so I cannot suggest any book. But the one book which I have already suggested by Matthews and Pig,
Hmm.
that book can be considered for optimization in using MATLAB, because there are some problems given in that book, and there are some monographs published by Springer as well regarding mock optimization techniques using MATLAB. So one can search out those options.
Yes, sir. So another question, is there any free software similar to MATLAB or Mathematica?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
IIT Bombay has launched a free package. This is Scilab,
Scilab.
SILAB, Scilab, and that is also much popular. But the only difference is that MATLAB is a very big package, and Scilab is comparatively, it's a just small package, and work is going on in Scilab also. So I recommend those who cannot afford MATLAB, they can use the Scilab. Commands are almost same. I have used Scilab also. So Scilab is also equally good, and I think as far as beginners understanding is concerned, Scilab should be considered first. I mean, at the top in this regard.
Okay, sir. So there is another question. Okay, someone is asking books on generating algorithm. Okay, I can answer this question. Sir can suggest the basic books on MATLAB from which you can start. Now there are hundred of books available on the internet. You can simply search on Google. You will get your answer. And there is another question. Is it free, Scilab? Yes, it is free
Yeah,
already.
Scilab
Sir
is
has explained from IIT Bombay site. I think you can download. Correct, sir?
yeah, correct.
Scilab. Yeah. Okay. There is a question. Can we use semi-analytical methods for solving PDE in MATLAB?
It depends actually. I haven't used semi-analytic techniques till now, so I cannot comment on this right now.
Yes, sir. And sir, you will try to solve PDEs in your course.
Yes.
That someone asked me 2 days back actually. You will cover PDE course, ODE PDE?
No, not in this one. This
Not
is
in
a
this one.
beginner. This is MATLAB is for beginners, but I will give some hints to regarding. If time permits, I will touch some part of PDs also.
Okay, sir. Okay, there is a question, but I don't suppose it is relevant. He is asking how MATLAB can be useful for research in field of antennas. I think in any computational work, you can use MATLAB for
Yeah.
any computational work.
Somebody is talking about antenna, so I have seen a reference book, and there is some work on using MATLAB on antennas also. I think some engineers have worked on this already.
Okay, okay. So, can you recall that book's name, or it's difficult, or
It's
person
difficult.
has to search on Google?
Yeah, one has to search on Google.
Okay. Okay, sir, I'm not getting any more questions. I think then we can proceed with our today's session. If they will ask, Dr. Ramu Dubey will ask you side by side.
Yeah, alternatively, I mean, they are commenting to directly to you, or they are commenting here.
Sir, they are someone are some of them are commenting privately to me, and others are commenting to everyone.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay,
So
so
some
to
points are
everyone,
but yeah.
yeah, to everyone you can see directly on the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, sir, you will do your presentation today on board only. This
No.
you will use board as well
I
as.
will try to use I mean directly MATLAB. I will try to type everything on MATLAB.
Okay.
If I mean if needed, I will try to use board also. So
No. Actually, Dr. Ramu Dubey will get the question. Na? So can he interrupt you after every 5
yeah,
or
of
10
course,
minutes?
anytime,
Yeah.
anytime. I never mind.
Anytime. Okay. So whenever student will ask, Dr. Ramu Dubey sir will, matlab for whenever he will get 2 or 3 questions, he will ask you
Yeah,
directly that
yeah.
those are
Maybe
2 or
maybe
3.
I will also I mean ask him, Dr. Dubey, that regarding these queries.
Yes,
So
sir.
no problem in that. We will communicate. Yeah.
Yeah. ठीक है. Okay,
Okay.
sir. Please proceed with your today's
Thank you,
session.
Dr. Lewis.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So first, okay, just to cross verify, is it visible? This one.
Yes, sir. Your screen
Yes,
is
sir.
visible.
So
Yes, sir.
all the three: figure window, editor, and then command window.
Yes, sir. All 3 are visible.
Okay, so we can start now. So participants, last time I will just quickly revise what we did till last time in the last two lectures. So first thing was that we did some arithmetic. All of us are familiar with the calculations. I mean calculator math. So to use MATLAB as a calculator. So plus multiplication, plus for addition, multiplication, star for multiplication, minus, and then slash for division. So these things we learned, and exponentiation cap hat for exponentiation. These five operations we learned last time. And then we learned about array operations. So what is an array? Array is some sort of a matrix, right? So if I define, so a equal to say 1, 2, 3. So this is a row vector. This is a row matrix, row vector. You can consider this as, right? So if you enter it, so okay, so I will have to make it. So you have some sort of this output, a equal to this much. And if you want to enter a column vector, or if you want to convert a to a column vector, so then you can take the transpose, and the command is same, transpose a dash, and you just see a dash is this is the column vector correspondingly. Alternatively, if you want to enter a column vector, you can just write it this way. So first row, after each row, what you need to do, you need to insert semicolon, then second row, then third row, right? So this way you will be able to enter column vector directly, right? Now, how to enter m cross n matrix? To enter m cross n matrix, so we need to proceed as follows. So if I want to enter, suppose a matrix, maybe I can just give you the first row, maybe 3 by 4 matrix. So 3 rows and 4 columns. So in 4 columns, say first column reads, so 4 columns, first, second, third, and then fourth. So first row reads, say entry is 1 1. So first row ends here, and then second row, this is second row, and then after third row, and then after fourth row, and then you can enter it. So you are able to enter this matrix. This is now this is 4 by 4 matrix here, right? So if you want to enter 4 by 3 by 4, then you should have restricted your rows to only 3 rows. So this is now this is now 3 by 4 matrix. So this is how we enter a matrix. So I can just define this last answer as a this to be my matrix. So A is now 3 by 4 matrix. And I want to make you familiar with more notions regarding array operations and array entries. If you want to extract ijth entry of matrix A, then which command you should use? So so to do this, capital A is in front of you right now. It is a 3 by 4 matrix. Suppose I want to extract its, so maybe we can experiment ijth entry, say maybe 1 2 1 comma 2, and entry means ith number is 1 and jth number is 2. So 1 2 will be something like this, right? So you can extract this way all entries. And if you want to extract sub matrix of this matrix, this matrix, and if you need to mention the rows from which row to which row, so maybe row 1 to row 2, and then I want to extract column, and first argument of this function is the row numbering and then column numbering. So maybe column is from 2 to 4, right? So then let's see what happens. So it gives us this matrix. So you can see now first and second row, and second, third, and fourth column. First and second row, and second, third, fourth column, right? So this way you are getting this matrix, right? This matrix. So this is how you can extract the sub matrix of a given matrix as per your need. And remember this command now: a I comma j denotes the ijth entry of the array A or the matrix A, right? And then I introduced to you the array operations. So maybe I can define this to be my matrix. B is matrix this one. Then you have been I have defined what is the meaning of multiplying B by B. Dot star you should use, right? Dot star B. So if you want to multiply point wise. That means entry wise you need to multiply. First entry should be get multiplied with the first entry, second multiplied by second, and so on. Then you should use the this array operation. So you can see that everywhere the element is being multiplied by itself, right? Corresponding. But if you want matrix multiplication, then you need to be the matrix multiplication to be well defined. So here you can see V is not a square matrix, so V star V will not be defined. You can see this, so it will produce an error. That okay, so I think that this way we can differentiate the array operation from the arithmetic operation. Then I started with the script files. And I demonstrated few things. So let me check. Yeah, so here it was. So we did this thing till last time. If you want to find out all the numbers, list of all those numbers which are divisible by 5 from say capital N. Capital N is a given number. Up to this number, we want to find out all numbers which are divisible by 5. And I introduced to you the for loop regarding this, and I introduced another thing, how to save the corresponding data also, right? So this was the first program perhaps within this discussion. So how we proceeded for this one, we used these commands. We just defined capital N to be equal to using a built-in MATLAB function input, using the input command. And whenever we use a function or built-in function or user-defined function, the arguments are always written within the braces. This rule is to be considered seriously, because otherwise we make mistakes. Sometimes we start using square brackets and it will produce error. So square brackets are reserved for defining matrices or arrays, okay, in MATLAB. So, and whenever we want to define some variable without mentioning its numerical value, it has to be entered as a character. So when you add something as a character or a string, so such a string is entered like this within single quotes, right? So if you want to enter something without numerical value, then you have to enter it using the single quotes. So within single quote, whatever you will mention, that MATLAB will consider it as it is. Look at this. If I just write something like this within single quotes, look at this. MATLAB will consider it as it is. MATLAB will not touch it. Okay, so MATLAB will just consider this as a string, right? Okay, so so an input function is, when you run the input function, MATLAB will ask you that provide this information, provide the argument, right? Provide the argument. Okay, so all the domain part, provide the domain part. So this was just alternatively you may not use this function. You can directly mention the value of n in this script file. And you can recall that when you save the script file, the extension name is .m. Extension name is .m, and afterwards you can run the script file. Okay, either by pressing F5 or there is a in the MATLAB header there is an icon. Okay, so you can play button is there. There you can run it. So we have you can use either of them. So I use F5 usually. So and then use for loop. So to use the for loop, because it's a logical thing, so we have to be very, very careful what we are supposed to do. So once problem is in hand, is understood, it's just a matter of translating the mathematics part to the programming part. So what we want to do from x from 1 to capital N, we want to find out all those integers which are divisible by 5, right? So we should know what is the rule for doing so. So rule is that remainder, when such a number x is divided by 5, if the remainder is 0, then the number is divisible by 5, right? So this rule we will use. So for loop, for the statements, if I have number of things to check, then I need to use a for loop. So for x, 1 by 1, x varying from 1 to n, and step size is 1 here, because we are interested in listing all those numbers, integers actually. So I'm defining r to be the remainder. The command is rem, remainder when x is divisible by 5. So first argument is the x and second argument is the division by 5. So, and then we have conditional statement, the if statement. So if r is equal to 0, so when we ask certain question within the programming language, so or if command when we use here these logical operators. Okay, so this one relational this relational operator we will use double equality. So we will not use single equality. Single equality is used to assign a value. So here we are asking MATLAB that is r equal to 0. So we are not assigning any value to r, right? So whatever r comes out to be, we are asking is r to be equal to 0. So if it is so, then we proceed. Then what we will define, we need to store this value, right? If remainder is 0, so remember this thing, double equality is used just for conditional statement, not for assigning a value, right? So x, so counter one I defined earlier. Counter one is just to initialize that how many times for loop will run. So for loop will run n number of times, right? So counter one, so count one, I'm defining this as a number. Count one initially is 1. So if x is equal to 1, count 1 will be equal to 1, and it will store. So it will not store unless unless r is 0. So for x equal to 1, of course count 1 will be 1, but the thing is that it will not store it as it is, right? So, and we are storing it x count 1 to be equal to x, right? That number. Otherwise we will proceed. If r is not equal to 0, then this will not work. And within the commands within the if statement, they will not be evaluated, right? So, and then I just asked you to note down these two commands to save the data. So I'm using just a file name, this variable to be equal to fopen. The command is actually fopen. Using fopen, you can open either a text file or you can open a dat file. So I use dat files. Alternatively, you can open txt file also, right? Text file. So now I have named it. This is the file name, and then dot extension name within single quotes, and then the formatting. Okay, so formatting will be now this way, and this plus sign would mean that we are interested in sign of the answer also. So if a number is negative, it will insert tell us whether number is negative or positive. Okay, so it will insert the sign of the number also, and then we will use this command. How we should write the data to this file. So we use the command fprintf for this. The command is fprintf, and then the first argument is the name of the file. So name of the file as a variable is fid. File name is different actually, but I'm defining this thing as a variable fid. So if to this variable fid, what I'm trying to do is we will write the data x, whatever x will be output, the number divisible by 5. And how we'll write it, the format is this command is for formatting. So 4 spaces. So in terms of computer language, maybe it's 4 bytes or something like that. And then after the second variable dot second number will tell us about the number of decimal places. Okay, number of significant figures up to which you want your answer. And then this one, whether output is a real number, I mean floating point number, or it is an integer. So it depends. So in this case, we can put it as an integer also. For integer, you should use the d command d. Okay, either d or f you can use. So I always use f command. Okay, so I will always so because every real number is going to be, every integer is going to be a real number. So for us, for maths people, we will use just something in unified way, right? So I prefer to use that. And then after once one time loop has for loop has been run, so after the second iteration, so where the second value should be stored, should it go to the along the row, or it should go to the along the column? So if you want to write the next output in the next line, then this command is there, /n. Okay, so go to next line. After writing data in the first iteration, for the next iteration, go to the next line. So this is the meaning of this statement. So you need to understand these two commands, and one needs to memorize also. Okay, so and then if command ends here. So we are interested to put a conditional statement only when we desire, because we desire our remainder to be 0. So if it is not 0, then what it will do, it will just count will become, so this is how we proceed for the loop. So the old value, so new value of, so upgradation of the value of the variable like this. So this is the new value of the same variable is given to be equal to old value of the same variable plus 1. And this is the usual rule in any language, computer language. So similarly, we can do this in MATLAB also. So the old value will get updated. So adding 1 to the old value. So, okay, so this is how we put the counter here. And then after for loop has to end. So whichever conditional statement you have or loop you have, it has to end. So for loop starts here and it should end here, right? Similarly, if commands the conditional statement starts, then it has to end also. So these two things. So through this example, I have demonstrated 2-3 things regarding MATLAB programming, which would be crucial for further understanding of MATLAB programming. And then since we have opened certain file, so we need to close it also. So finally, I have used this command fclose fid. So fid was a variable. So variable is nothing but the file which has been opened. Right? So I hope that you have understood this program. And to understand MATLAB programming, what you can do is you have to type all these commands manually, right? So you just type all these commands on your screen. Those who have installed MATLAB, and they can immediately understand what is going on. So see what happens sometimes when I'm writing something, some program here, it will look very easy for you at the first moment. But if I ask you to write the same program by your own hand in MATLAB on your PC, just by copying and not by copying and pasting, just by looking at this and just typing by hands, then you will see you may make mistakes because it's MATLAB is totally command based. If a certain commands, a certain typographic error occurs, then it will not work. So MATLAB will produce errors. So that way one has to be very cautious, right? While and the thing is some merits are there, because if a certain mistake is there, MATLAB produces error, then MATLAB tells you that at which line error is there, up to which line MATLAB has evaluated. So that makes the things easier. So you can, at the left hand side here, you can see that we have 9 numbers here. And suppose now in the program you want to write say very big expression.
Excuse me, sir. There are some queries from the participant.
Yes.
Yeah. The first one is, just a minute. So first one, can you please share some companies' name which use MATLAB for data analytics or the data science?
It's very difficult to specifically name the companies at this moment. What you can do is just Google it. These things should be asked in Google. I think Google it, that can answer in fraction of seconds.
Yeah.
I think we are here to just learn MATLAB programming. So to use it, so you see, any programming language has plenty of applications, plenty of opportunities. Okay, so almost all companies are employing people in such languages or such packages like MATLAB, Python, or other things. Needless to ask, so I welcome the question, but the thing is that one can see the answer on Google. Yeah.
Yes. Second question is, can you please repeat that was the meaning of the percentage for used in printf?
Oh, okay. So that I can repeat. So percent, you use percent sign after that. So percent sign, if you use outside the quote, single quotes, then percent would mean commenting. If you are using it within single quotes, then it is regarding formatting. So to store the data, suppose so first number, we have 2 numbers here. First number is to denote the space. Suppose you have a big number. Suppose you have a 20-digit number, and you are just putting 4 here. So this is so space is being calculated. If this number is larger, the MATLAB will have more space, will reserve more space to write the number, right? So suppose now if I just put 1 here, right? So look at this. If I put 1 here and let me run it once, and then let's see output. So what can happen? Let's see. So you will see this now. Up to 10, I'm running it, right? So only two numbers should appear. So number 10 is 5 and 10 is appearing here, right now. So space is left hand side, no space is left, right? So if I just put more space here, suppose I'm putting 16 here, right? Then let's see what happens. Let me run it again. I'm putting 10 here, and look at this. So where this has shifted now? So look at this huge space has been left now. Okay, so this is for spacing, horizontal spacing between. So it may happen that you may need to store two variables, right? Maybe I may store two variables. Maybe I can just hold on. I just want to store x square also, right? I want to store x square also. So just let me store two things together, right? X and as well as x square. So what I will do, I need spacing in between, right? So how many variables I need to store, that many times I will have to put these formatting commands. So maybe 4.4 and then 4.4. Okay, so let me run it again. Let's see if it is correct. Yeah, so let me check out. So something has happened. Just hold on. Again, do it. So is it okay? Yeah, it's fine. So write the data and then go ahead. Yeah. So let me put 20 here, and let's see. So this is not working here. So maybe there is some issue just in formatting. So formatting things you have to do experiments lot many times, because it's not easy to memorize all these commands. This is not working somehow right now. Just wait. Oh, I haven't put here. Yeah, so one has to be careful, but kind of. So F was not put there. So this is why this was not producing anything, right? So just hold on. Let me check it again. Yeah, look at this now. So sometimes it happens that I need to store two variables, right? So x and x square. So look here, the space is not so good here in between these two columns. So I want more space here. So you should have, you can increase the space in between, right? So you can just use this one now, and let me rub it first and then run it again. So look here now. So look at this. So this is the purpose of first digit. So I hope you have got the answer now. That so just to distinguish between first and second column, MATLAB will of course distinguish it, but to our eyes it should be very clear to us, because it's of course it is actually after all it is output now. So we would be interested to analyze the output. Okay, so that way first digits before the decimal place means the spacing between the variables which you want to store now. And then the second would be regarding the formatting, up to how many significant digits you want your answer to be written in the corresponding file, right? So up to 4 decimal places, you have seen this. And F would mean that floating point numbers or integers, right? Alternatively, you can use integers also. So for integers, I think D will work. Let me again. So just let me check if it has. So yeah, so look at this. So here only integers are, so in first column you can see only integers are being stored, and in the other one the up to decimal places are stored, right? 4 decimal places. So this is the meaning of this F and D, and then this would mean next line. If you remove this, the output will be along the first line. So what would be along the first line. Okay, so or it will be by default. So because we haven't mentioned anything, right? So that way the things will work. So for next line, this use this command /n. So and then after whichever variables you want to store, write them in matrix form, single row form, right? Because you want to store your variables in one first row, first output in first row, second output in second row, third output in third row, and so on. So that will give us 2 columns, right? In the output. Yes, please. Next question, please.
Next question is, can we use for loop in command window, or it must be in editor window?
No. In command window, you can do anything. Command window is the heart of MATLAB.
Okay.
Everything will work in command window.
Okay.
But the thing is, command window, once the things have gone upside, so it's very difficult to recall, and you have to retype the things, right? And the benefit of script file is that you can reuse your program, right? Excellent.
Okay, sir. Sir, please continue, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dubey. So I hope that you have understood this program. And the thing is, you will not understand this program actually unless you try it by your hands. Otherwise, see, it's all command based. So copy paste. If you copy it and paste it, then of course it will run. But then you will not get anything out of it. If you really want to get benefited from the MATLAB programming, I mean these kind of things, then you have to type each and every command by your hands, so that you can get familiar with the MATLAB commands. Right? So some commands you have to memorize. And see, I am using this MATLAB for the last 15, more than 15, 16 years or so. So as per my experience, I have memorized many commands with the usage of MATLAB, but still, MATLAB is very huge, so it's quite hard for me to memorize each and every command. So what I do, I use the help section. I go to the help section and find out the correct command for doing the things as per my convenience and as per my requirement. Right? So I suggest you also to do the same thing. But when you the idea is that when you make a program, when you write the commands by hand on your own, it automatically start getting to your mind, and you get your mind gets used to all these things. So, and you start memorizing also. So that way I think things will work. Okay, so today the purpose is to make you understand two things. One is I want to introduce to you function files. So how to define functions in MATLAB. And the second thing would be to more on graphics, right? Storage. So I will just want to demonstrate complete thing that you have a program, then you have to save the data, you have to run the file, you have to plot also. And then in plotting also, some people have a lot of problems in plotting. So you have very good commands in MATLAB for plotting. I mean, good in the sense in the ease of in the sense of ease. Okay, ease of uses, right? So it's quite easy to use all those things. So okay, so I will proceed one by one. So first, let me make you aware about some function files. So there are several ways of defining functions in MATLAB and several type of functions. So if you want to define your function in script file, then we have different rules. And if you want an independent function file, for example, if you want to if you want to use Simpson's rule for the Riemann integral of a given function, right? Bounded function, of course. Then what you should do? So you have two options. Well, first option is you can use the built-in MATLAB function. The function is quad, QUAD. So you can use this command, QUAD. You can just write the function here. The first argument would be the function, and then the first limit and second limit, something like this. Squad will evaluate the area, the corresponding integral. So I will come to this command afterwards, but you will be interested because you don't know what kind of programming has been done in the built-in function of quadrature. So actually, this is based on Gaussian quadrature, but many of you may not be familiar, or many of you may not be interested to use the Gaussian quadrature. Rather than that, you would be interested in, because at the very first thing is that you while performing Riemann integration, you use either trapezoidal rule or Simpson's rule. You do not go for Gaussian quadrature unless you have very weird integral. So you would be interested to implement a Simpson's rule, maybe Simpson's 1/3 rule, Wedel's rule, or maybe trapezoidal rule. And you would not like that every time you need to use those add an odd number of terms, odd terms, even terms, and so on. Because every time if function changes, then you will have to program again. So you want a program on Simpson rule, perhaps, maybe, such that whenever you have a function, you should not worry about the Simpson's rule. Simpson rule should be automatically be utilized to obtain the integral. So such kind of things are to be done by defining a different function for Simpson's rule. So define a function for Simpson rule, such that what happens that whenever you want to use a Simpson rule, you can directly use it, rather than every time writing the Simpson rule in the program. You can just program it once for all, and then after you can just use it. So such kind of functions are user-defined functions, and these functions play a central role in MATLAB program. So what happens? And every such function has to be defined as an independent file, single file. So I'm going to define one such function for you. So maybe some simplest one. I think I have. Yeah, if you want to convert degrees to degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, right? So and you want a function that immediately can convert these things. Okay, so how we should proceed? So we have now how we should use. We can make up a program. So how to make a function file? What are the rules for function file? You can see in the MATLAB this one window. So you have several options whether you want new script file, live script file, function file, live function, class, and so many type of figure file and so on. So we want a higher function file. So why not to click this one, function file? Okay, so these are the rules. So it will tell you this end has been written in the end. This end is not necessary. Okay, so you can just remove this end for the time being. Minimal number of commands we want to write. And let me explain what is the meaning of a function file. So function file, first of all, the very first line should be function, should be written. This keyword should be written, the function. Okay, after writing this function, and on the very first line, you should write here the output argument 1, output argument 2. Maybe if you may want 3 or 4 outputs or 5 outputs, okay, or maybe only one output. So output variables are written here. Okay, maybe I can write here x out, right? Or maybe for the time being only single variable I'm writing x out, only one variable, right? If one variable is there, you need not to insert the square brackets. And then here the function name. Okay, here should be the function name. Maybe I can define this as a maybe capital, maybe function 1. I'm defining it as a function 1. And then you have how many variables you have, function of maybe 2 variables, 3 variables, 4 variables, as many number of variables as you can have. Okay, function of finitely many number of variables you can define. So somebody was asking yesterday regarding polynomial. So why not to define a polynomial function, right? Polynomial function of one variable. Okay, so maybe I can define 2 polynomial functions or maybe one polynomial function say here. So function 1 is this one. So I have now. So here what we will do, we will define output variable. So what is x out here? X out will be the what is your function, what you need, what you are interested to define. So first, if you save it, so first you need to save it. When you save it, remember the function file has to be saved with the same name. So what is the name of the function? This is func1. With the same name you have to save this function file. This is the difference between function file and script files. So remember, so function files, let me write it again. So function file, let me write it here. Function file is saved with the name of the function, right? With the name of the function, you can just read it out. A function file is saved with the name of the function. And the first line reads, in the first line, what you should write? The first line you should write the keyword function. After that, you should write the output variable. If there is only one variable, then only x out. If you have 2 variables for output, then you have to define that as a matrix, right? As a row matrix, right? And if you have, and this is the function name. This is the function name. So you are free to choose your own name for the function. Okay. So maybe if you want to use Simpson rule, then you need to define some sort of something like Simpson 2 or Simpson 3, something like this, right? So you can just use your any of the function names you want, right? And then you can save it. So first I'm defining this to be a polynomial function. Maybe say 1 plus, randomly we are choosing x plus 3 star x square, and then after minus 2 x raised to power 5. Or maybe if I want to write 10 higher power, then you have to use the braces, right? So there is a mistake here. 2 star should be there. 2 star x. So this is your function now we have defined, and we are saving it. And you need to remember the directory. So what you can do is, on your desktop you can make a folder. Okay, you can make a folder with some good name, and then within this folder you try saving all your files. So because the MATLAB asks for the directory, okay, which directory you want to save it. So I'm saving it on desktop right now. So you save your file. So once you have saved your function file, now let's see, let us evaluate it. So to see, remember function files, there are the kind of function files which you can run and which you may not run. So function files are usually not run. We do not run function file. So function file you can close afterwards. Once you have defined a function, you can close it, and now you can use in MATLAB, use the function file anywhere in MATLAB. This is the benefit of defining something as a function. Now you can call it anywhere. So if I want to call this function, so I will write func func1, and suppose I want to evaluate it at x equal to 1. So let's see what happens. Look at this. MATLAB has evaluated it. So MATLAB understands where the function is. F of 1 is 3, right? So you can evaluate it. In fact, now what you can do is you can plot the function. Suppose I want to plot this polynomial function where x varies from maybe some -2 to 5 or something like that. So how I will proceed? I can define x to be equal to a row vector, right? So I can define x to be say -2, then step size of 0.1 I can say, and 2 up to 5. Suppose I have defined x this way. Now the problem is when you will define function 1 of x, it will not work. Why? Because some powers are sitting there, and I have x as actually an array here. So this is why by default you should always use array operations rather than using the other operations. Okay, so but not blindly. Okay, x, because when you want to multiply matrices, you do not use array operations. Okay, so you have to be careful with what kind of things you are working. So here, since I am working with the x as a variable here, not necessarily matrix here, so the thing is, so I can define it as a row matrix, right? So because I'm interested in plotting its graph. So now it will evaluate function, right? So you can see now function will be a row vector now. Correspondingly, it will give us the row vector of the function values. So look at this. So we have got a big row vector, right? So you can see a lot of output. So let us plot it. So once we have a function with us and we have x, so I can plot now. Plot x with func func1 of x. Okay, so if I plot it, so let's see what happens. So look at the right hand side here. So I hope you are able to see this. So where is the graph of this one? See this. Yeah, here is the graph. So look at this polynomial is going to be, it takes many values because x to 10 was involved there. Let me make it a little bit nicer, x to power 3 here, so that you can see the graph again. So look at this. So this is the, so I hope this is clear to you. In fraction of seconds, the things are there, and see this. This is the nice thing about MATLAB. It is very easy to define functions, right? So this is the MATLAB machinery, takes care of everything, and these are universal functions as long as your folder is concerned. If you are working with your folder, right, within your folder, then this function is a universal function. And if you can specify the path of the folder, then again it is a universal function. So func1 will always be stored unless you delete it or you change it somewhere. Okay. So this is the nice thing about this, and this makes MATLAB programming much easier than other packages because it is easy to define functions. Now alternatively, whatever I have done in MATLAB command window regarding this function file, so what I can do is I can run a file, I can make a function, and I can just try to utilize things like this. So I'm going to explain this now. First, make a function file, and to execute the function file, make a script file, so that for your later reference, you can just modify according to your convenience. Now, I have already prepared a function file for you. I have this function f1. F1 function output variable is only one variable, is output variable, and name is f1 as a function of x and a. A is a parameter. So function of two variables I have defined, right? And this is not a polynomial function. This is a rational function right now. So I'm assuming this as a rational function. This way function I have defined f1. F1 is this one, and after this output variable has to be defined. Remember this out2, whatever has been written as over here, should be defined properly. So out2 is nothing but this f1, which the way I have defined is f1, right? So this is how we define a function. Now I'm interested to plot this f1 with respect to x. So I will use this script file. I have this script file with me. So in this script file, I can call my F1. Okay, so script file is in the same folder. Okay, in which so right now my folder is a desktop folder, right? So I'm defining x to be from 0 to 5, and with a step size of 0.1. And then I'm defining a counter to be cc equal to 1. So I'm inserting a counter also. Please be careful right now, because this is something interesting is going on, because I just want to display side by side graphics also. So and define CO, this variable CO, this column vector to be this row vector to be this one. This will be for color specification. Okay, so CO 0 0 0. Okay, so when you define 0 0 0, RGB red green blue, if RGB is all are 0 0 0, that amounts to black color, right? Then define we have this command now, set. So we are setting now default axis color order. Okay, so axis color order means, so if we are going to draw multiple graphs, so we are interested to maybe interested to different colors, but I want all the colors to be same, black. So the command is set groot. Okay, set groot, then default axis color order and the color name. So color name, I have just only single color I have mentioned. If you have more, want to mention more color orders, you have something like this. You have to define CO as a three column matrix. Okay, so as many rows as you want, as many rows, as many graphs you want to draw together, right? So this is the standard thing which you can copy and paste there. Okay, so or you can type by hands, and then set groot default axis line style order. Axis line style order. This you can just search in the documentation, and you can just copy and paste from there. And I want and see if you have big expression, you cannot cover it in one single line, then you have to use 3 dots together. 3 dots would mean your command has your line, your text expression has not ended, so your expression has ended in the next line. Okay, so this expression has ended in the next line, so after 3 dots. So I want that first graph should contain a line. Okay, second should contain points, third should contain dot points, fourth should have dashed line, fifth should have crosses or something like this. Okay, so something like this. So here I am drawing for 4 graphs. So I am interested to draw this function, graph of this function for each value of a. A is from -1 to 2. So 4 values of a I am taking with a step size of 5. -1, 0, 1, and 2. Right. So define y to be equal to. I can remove the square brackets here. So for I'm using for loop because I want to draw 4 graphs. So for a varying from -1 to 2, this parameter, I'm defining y to be equal to f1 evaluated at x and a, and x was a row vector there, right? Then after this, what I'm trying to do is, once I have found for one value of a the function values, plot them. So plot x comma y. First argument is x, so variable along x-axis and variable. So 2-dimensional graphs we are discussing here. So mainly we will be concerned with 2-dimensional graphs. So y-axis variable y here, y is the function value here evaluated at all points of x, and then you can mention the how much thickness you need to for the graph line. Okay, the curve of the graph, right? So this is the command here within single quotes line width, and then you can enter 2 here. 2 is the width of 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to mention, depending on the scale here. This will work. And then hold on command we will use to just to we ensure that that once first graph has been drawn for the first value of a, and then the loop starts running again, then in the same window we should be able to draw the second graph and third graph and so on, right? And then put the upgradation of this counter here, cc equal to cc plus 1. So though it is not working here, but we are just mentioning it here. Okay, so we have now what we will do, and end the for loop. After ending the for loop, all the 4 graphs will appear. All the 4 graphs will appear, right? Then you would not like to put more graphs in the same figure. So then you should put the command hold off. The hold on, and then hold space on, then hold space off. After that, what you need to do is you may be interested to put a legend there, right? So you can put a legend like this. So 4 graphs are there. So in single quotes, you can just write a equal to -1, and then in the next one a equal to 0. In the third graph a equal to 1. In the fourth graph a equal to 2. And then you can mention x label in single quotes. And then the first thing is that what you want along the x-axis. So I am writing x here within single dollars. And I'm now this is a latex MATLAB interface. So you can use the latex commands because we work in mathematics. So mathematics people are interested more in using the latex commands. So here you can just in single dollars I'm inserting x here, and then font size you can specify. Font size is 20 here, depending upon your convenience. And then interpreter. So interpreter I'm writing here latex. So interpreter would be, so what kind of package you would like to use? I mean for typing these things, right? So interpreter is the latex here. So you will see exactly the latex font here. So and y-axis, xy, I think to demonstrate latex, I can use something like this, omega, maybe bigger omega. So and then again same thing here. Y level can be mentioned similar way. And then after you would like that get the current coordinates, right? So GCF. So regarding the current axis, what you can just set, you can set the current axis to,
Excuse me.
Yes.
Sir, there are some queries.
Yes.
The first one is, just a minute. The first one is, what is the difference between a script file and live script file?
Script file and
Live script file.
live script file. So we are not using live script file right now. So these live things, so we are not using here. We will be concerned only with script file. So forget about other files.
Okay.
Right now we will be working only with script file and function files.
Okay.
Otherwise, MATLAB have so many things, you will get confused. So try to work with minimal number of things so that that should serve our purpose. So you can see I have shown you so many files there, right?
Okay.
But that's not possible to explain so many things. So you have get this.
So
So,
next question. Yeah.
So we are not. So if you want to publish something or if you want to demonstrate something, so these things are there. But we don't want neither we want live function nor we want live script file. We want to work with script file and only to work with function files. Okay. And third one would be possibly figure file. Only these three kind of things, not any fourth object. Right.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Next question is, if we have so many functions in function file, how can we save it?
Yeah, but you can go ahead with that also. In function file, you can you have sub function. You can define sub functions there. Okay, so maybe I can demonstrate it to you. Maybe suppose you are using here, say g of x here. Okay, maybe I'm using g of x here, right? So I hope you are able to see this window, this one function file, func1. Now what I want to do is I don't know what is g here, so I want to define now another function. So out, this is a good question actually. Out g equal to, so maybe gx, right? So I'm defining this as a function. So we define your out g to be equal to out g to be equal to, say maybe maybe sine of, right, sine of x, right? So that way it will work. Okay. So you have no. So what it will do? So but the sub function is only, this is not an universal function. Okay, it will be available to only this function. So sub function will not work outside of the main function file. Okay, it will be only defined for this function. So now you can define as many functions as you want. I hope this answers your question. Next, please.
Next is, please also explain how to solve non-differential partial differential equations in MATLAB.
How to solve partial differential equations?
Yeah, non-linear partial differential equations.
We have to wait for that. We have several options for this. See, I think I need to answer a question. So one question has been asked so many times. So people are asking how this can be done, how that can be done. So these questions are to be asked to yourself.
Yes.
Once you learn the MATLAB, now you ask yourself how you will solve this using MATLAB. Okay, so MATLAB is, so one side you have mathematics, one side you have MATLAB. So now you have to decide how you will be able to utilize this command for your purpose. Nobody can answer these questions. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next question. Yeah.
Yeah, but all questions are welcome because you have to ask questions. Please don't stop asking questions. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Next question is, please give an example of function with more than one variable.
Example, the more, yeah, you can just put here. Maybe I can. So I think I have already defined a function. You can put xy here itself, xy here, and then maybe x here and y. Put somewhere y here, right? So you have now two variable functions, right? You can increase the number of variables here. In fact, you can just, since MATLAB works with the column matrices, it works with arrays also. So you can define all your variables in single x itself, right? In single x. So x, I'm not saying that x is a real number here, right? While defining a function, I'm defining a function of characters, function of arrays, function of anything. So x can be anything right now. It depends upon what you are going to do with this. Okay. So that means even if I write only x here, even I write only x here, this is going to be a function of several variables, right? This is going to be a function of more than one variables. You just put x to be a column vector there, right? Yes. Next question, please.
Next, please bring the command window little bit up.
Command window little bit up. Okay. So when I will write, okay, no problem. Thank you for this. I will just I have done this. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we can proceed. I think so. So some very good questions have been asked. So I hope all of you will get benefited out of this. So this would mean that whenever you are defining a MATLAB function, that function is a function of any sort. Okay, that is a function of anything you want to do with. Okay, you want to use. So if you want a function of 10 variables, so you can consider x to be a function of x to be as having 10 components, right? Not only this, if you want to have x to be a my and so it's a matrix function as well. So every function in MATLAB is going to be a matrix function, but the thing is that accordingly you will have to define these operations. Okay? So while defining the function, you have to take care of what kind of variable you are going to work with. If it is, since I was aware that I will be using plotting this function, so I will be using x to be I will be using x as a column, as a row vector. So I use array commands here. If I am aware that x is a square matrix, I want to work with x as a square matrix, then I will not use these commands here. I will use just raised to power here, right? So simultaneously, so this is the nice thing about MATLAB, that it does not distinguish between arrays, function of arrays, function of vectors, function of other things, correct? So function of strings, function of arrays, function of matrices, function of variables. Okay, so all these things mean same thing. So same function file will work for all these things, but depending upon how you are using the operations. So operations you have to define carefully. Okay. Okay, so this was about defining the functions, and now I'm coming back to the user interface regarding graphics and functions. So I was about to plot this function, and I have given you a few commands regarding. So Times New Roman font you would like to have with your axis, and axis font size should also to be 20. So something like this. These standard commands you can cut and paste there, and now you can run the command, run it. So let's see what happens. So function I am using, which function file? Let's see. This is the f1.exe. So where I have made some changes, right? So but there a does not appear now. So let me. So a should be some. Yeah, a is there. Okay, so we can run this file now. So let's see what happens. So are you able to see? I hope you are able to see the figure file. Figure 1. So you have seen the graphs here. So legend is also there, and you can see now the way we have defined the color was black everywhere, and then these things we have seen. The line specifications we have already mentioned, right? Solid line, then dotted one, and then dash dot, and then dashed one. And the fifth curve is not there, so fifth it has not picked up. If you have 10 curve, 20 curves, you can just accordingly you can specify colors also. You can change color specifications also, right? So you can just change all colors to some different color. Maybe I'm just putting this to be blue color here. So let's see now. Again, I'm running it. Let's see what happens. So everything I turned to be blue. So accordingly, and look at the latex symbols. This omega. This is the latex symbol here, right? So So LaTeX user interface is very nice here regarding LaTeX. You can use all commands, almost all commands regarding putting symbols here. Not all, but almost all, right? So, and then you can put a title also here. So you can just, then after this, you can edit the figure. So I will not go into the detail of that, but you can just try to search in documentation that further modifications if you want. If you want to put text here, then how you will proceed. So you have another window here. So I'm blocking it. So just double click it and you will get another window here. And then see x-axis, you want to change the things regarding x-axis, y-axis, and so on. We want to put the title here, something like this. Title will appear, right? And then if you don't want box, then box will disappear, right? So many things are there. And if you want ticks here, you can just click the ticks and you can just show minor ticks on y-axis, x-axis. These are so many things which you can play with. So once you are able to understand to draw the graphics, you can just edit the graphic accordingly, according to your choice and according to your understanding, right? Okay, so this was regarding making a function file and then executing a function file within a script file, and then having some good choices for the specification of line width and so on regarding graphics. So I hope that this thing you have got, because this was a complete picture of working procedure regarding executing a function file. And see here I have executed which function, F1, no? So I can execute F1 here, no? So I can insert here again a parameter, say a somewhere here, right? So I can insert a here so that the thing should change accordingly. And I am using G here, so I can use this function. So I can just use this function here instead of using that one. So you say same thing will happen. I'm just changing the function here, right? So x and so here it should be now function of how many variables? X and a, two variables, right? X and a again. So I'm using it as a function of two variables. So let's see now. Again, I'm running it. So let's see. So the graph will appear like this, right? So it depends on the function. So as many functions you want, you can define there. And since I have used the sub function command, so you have understood this one also, that even if your function depends upon lot many other functions, you can just redefine those functions here. It happens sometimes that you want to integrate. Just hold on. So if you want maybe suppose you want to solve a partial differential equation or something like that, and then you have to it depends upon what kind of method you are using to solve the partial differential equation. Most of the good methods, I mean techniques which are, somebody was asking me about semi-analytic techniques. So such techniques are good for solving such kind of problems. So there you need a lot of programming, lot of functions appear there, and you have to, plenty of files you have to generate, right? And sometimes happens that function within a function, you have to call function within a function. So there such kind of functions are user defined function will be helpful. Okay, so I think with this you have got the how to define function and how to execute it. Now execution, now it depends what kind of function you need. Now it depends upon you. Okay, so purpose, if you want to solve a problem, then you have to understand a problem, translate a problem, right? And then you have to understand the problem from MATLAB point of view, and then you have to understand the problem whether it would be easy to to program it that way, the method which you are using. So see, MATLAB programming of your mathematical problem will involve so many things in your hands. Okay, so but the thing is, once you have mastered the commands in MATLAB, once you are familiar with, comfortable with the working procedure of MATLAB, and it's easy to get familiar with the working procedure of MATLAB, then you can utilize the MATLAB for your own purpose. Remember, MATLAB will not do anything new with your mathematical problem. MATLAB will follow your instructions. So this thing we have to keep in our mind, that the problem which we are trying to do numerically, right? Whether we have understood the problem to the best of ourselves. Okay, so if we have understood the problem, what we are supposed to do numerically, right? And then rest is translation. Rest, you just need to translate your problem to instruct MATLAB. So MATLAB has to follow your instructions. So the user has to be to be a little bit, careful enough to, well familiar with the concepts of MATLAB in order to utilize this package for your own purpose. And why emphasis is on MATLAB? Because it is easier than the other packages, much easier than the other packages, and not only much easier, but the results which and the for speed. If you compare the speed of MATLAB, speed means something different here. So then you can just you have amazing speed of MATLAB, right? Regarding programming with MATLAB, and then of course the speed of any program depends upon the programmer also, how one is, what kind of things one is using program, because no program is universal. You have different way of programming same thing, right? So, and then rest is practice.
Hello.
So more you practice, more you learn it. Yes. Dr. Dubey? Yes, please.
Hello, sir. Sir, please continue, sir.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have understood function files. So maybe I can just let you know about few more functions. You may be interested in obtaining a cross product of two vectors. So you to define it. So maybe I can just use as an exercise, right? So please just practice this exercise. So I'm giving you this exercise. So somebody suggested me to put it a little bit upside, right? So I'm putting it here. So exercise 1 would be just write a program, write a function file, write a function file for which purpose? For obtaining cross product of two vectors in R3. So you can just, so exercise is write a function file for obtaining cross product of two vectors in R3. So please try to write. So in fact, you have some of you may be knowing that cross product can be defined in, it's difficult to define it in Rn, but you can define it as a tensor in Rn, right? So you can define cross product in R4 as well. So but that it will be a little bit tedious to program it. Okay, so because it's tedious to understand it first, and then you can implement it. So you can just try to extend the cross product to R4 in mathematics first of all, and then you can just try to write a function file for this. Next exercise I would like to give you is the following. Exercise 2 would be the following. This one is write a function file. Okay, so for obtaining factorial of given number, or maybe gamma of any given numbers. For gamma you have to go for integration, right? So exercise 2 is write a function file for obtaining factorial of a given number. So this is the second question I would like to ask you for your practice. These are easy things, so which you can. So if you are not comfortable, just let me know. In next lecture, I can just program it. No problem in that. So let me go further now. How much time is left? I would like to know. Yeah, so I still have few minutes. So rather than proceeding further, I think I would like to take your doubts. If you have any question, any query right till now, you can ask me. And the next lecture, I will try to make you aware about implementing things like Simpson's rule and so on. Right? Some mathematical problems we will solve later on next lecture. Okay. And some graphics also. Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I want to say to you, sir, that at last but not least, I would like to thank you, Dr. Jitendra Singh, for delivering such a wonderful talk.
Oh, thank you.
A true teacher does not only enhance the knowledge of the students, but make them curious. Your lecture will be surely a landmark for the participant. Thank you. Thank you again, sir.
Okay, sorry to interrupt in between. I think Jitendra sir has not finished yet. I think you were explaining something, sir.
No, no.
You have ended the lecture.
I was just taking doubts of the students and participants.
Okay.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, I think there are no doubts from the participant side right now. So, Jatendra sir, do you want to take a break or you want to continue with your lecture? Still, we have 10 minutes.
I think we have some time, so I can continue.
Yes, sir. So then you can continue, sir.
So I can just have few more programs, right? So I can have a few more things for the participants.
Okay, sir, there is a question from the participant. She has sent me privately.
Yes.
You had asked a question yesterday that the sum of the series 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 and so on up to infinity.
Yeah, yes.
So the participants was that particular participant was unable to solve this doubt. So can you solve it right now, or do you want to?
Yeah, I can try this thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can just try to solve it this way. So you have what was the series? So can you please? Sorry, series was 1 plus 1 by 2
plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 and so on. I think you can make it as a square, 1 plus 1 by 2 square.
Yeah, this will not converge.
Only then it will be it will converge.
So let me just put it in the new file. Or maybe this one, I can use the same file. Session 2, right? So let me program it here. So let me mention the problem first and then.
Okay, yeah, student has mentioned me again that it is 1 by 2 raised to the power cube, I think.
Yeah, cube,
Okay.
because the answer is not non-enclosed form. That's why I asked this question.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
This problem is not enclosed form, so one has to rely only on numerical evaluations.
Okay, sir.
So problem is solve 1 by
find the sum of
cube plus, of course, up to some extent. I mean approximation, right?
Yeah.
1 plus this thing up to infinity, right? Plus so on. So we need to approximate it, right? We need to approximate it. So for this problem, how we will proceed? You first define some. You need to initialize sum 1 is equal to 0, right? You can just do it this way, or maybe you can just either you can use a loop here, or you can utilize, or maybe I can just utilize directly. So let us see now. So for say n equal to 1 to capital N, right? So what we can do is I can define here. Vector. I can just utilize this one, right? 1 by I want 1 by n. So here it should be now. I can define to be sum to be equal to sum. Yeah, so sum 1 I have need to define. Okay, so I need to define loop here. So sum 1, you take it to be 0 first of all. Initialize the sum. Old sum is or new sum is old sum plus 1 by n cube, right? So then you can just end it, right? So let's see what happens. So now what we want to do is we need to take n to be sufficiently large, right? So first let us just do this much, then we will improve this program. Okay, so now I want sum 1, right? So look at this. So maybe you would like to see the steps also. So first in the very beginning, if I take n to be equal to 1, if I take n to be equal to 3, you can manually check the sum. Okay, so let me run it. So sum is 1.1620. So I hope you have understood the programming part here. So just for loop will be sufficient, right? And then what you can do is just make it 30. Let's see what happens. So it's now becoming something bigger now, right? Now, so and then you can take 300 here, right? So let's see what happens. Oh, sorry. So you can just take 3000. Let's see how much time MATLAB takes. Just hold on. Just let me run it again. So look at this. You have found almost. So this is the rough way of using this. But alternatively, if you have error analysis in your hands, then you know Cauchy criteria, right? No? So convergence, right? So you can just as for large enough for all large enough n, you can just make it. So this is the good thing to see an interplay between concrete mathematics on one hand and programming at one hand, right? So this is a good question now. And can you see now that Cauchy criteria you can see now? So if you want to fix the decimal places, that how many decimal places you need, then how an n will be, how you will evaluate n. So you will be able to evaluate n somehow, because you know the difference between the the sums for the up to n terms and sum up to n plus 1 terms, this difference should be made as small as we wish. So make this as a condition, solve mathematically, and then you will have appropriately, if once error is given to you, you want a tolerance to be set up to third decimal place. So 10 raised to the power minus 3, your answer should be less than, error should be less than 10 raised to the power minus 3. So what you can do is you can just select capital N in some sense, in that sense, but you have to do some mathematics first, right? First do it on pages, and then accordingly you can select N. After that, you can just improve your program. So right now, I've just given you the idea how to solve it, okay, on MATLAB. So you can see the answer is 1.2021 up to 3000 terms, right? Next question, please.
So there is a question from the candidate, maybe I have missed. He has said, please ask sir to explain function of the graph given on screen.
Function on the graph.
Function of the graph given on the screen. I think he wants to ask what is the function behind this graph that figure 1 is showing, I suppose.
So what the problem is, which function he was, which graph he was talking about? I'm not sure.
Sir, I think the graph that is being displayed on the screen right now.
So this is the func1, I think. Func1.
Oh, func1.
The sine function is involved there, no? Func1.
Okay.
So let me check it. Func1 is there or not? Let me check it. Yeah, func1 it is. Let me draw it again. Let's see. Yeah, it's func1.
Okay. I think the student should have got the answer till now.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone was asking me if you want to have a bar on that syntax. Wants to have bar, for example, a bar in the title of the graph. So I've explained him by using that interpreter LaTeX. So can you also demonstrate here? Suppose in the X level, I want to have a, yeah.
I have done this. Yeah, if you can just see this one here. X, you're interested in X level and Y level, no?
Yeah. X level and Y level.
I have already demonstrated this. That interpreter is LaTeX here. So
okay, he want X bar, so just simply put that.
Just simply put there bar X, right? So you just put here. I mean, but you should be, you should be aware of LaTeX commands. Huh? Let's see. So look at this now. X bar appears here, right?
Yes, sir. So I think he got the answer. The same I replied. Okay. Another question is that yesterday we were talking about that short format and long format, no? In which in the short format you can have up to 4 decimal places. In the long format you can have up to some more decimal places. The answer. So if particularly I want to have up to 5 decimal places, it means we need to create a function for a particular decimal places. For example, if I want up to 5 decimal places. Sir, your screen is still right now. Are you getting me, sir?
Sound clear नहीं आ रही लगता. Sound problem है.
दुबे सर, आपको मेरी साउंड आ रही है दुबे सर क्लियर?
हाँ, साउंड आ रही है.
ओके, मेरे को लगता है जतेंद्र सर की तरफ से थोड़ा नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम होएगा. So, okay, students, I can answer this question. You simply try to make a function. Who has asked me? Okay, Aryan, you try to make a function. Even I have replied this question even yesterday's chat also. You simply try to make a function something like 10 raised to the power 5 divided by 10 raised to the power 5. Then the answer will be up to 5 decimal places. Okay, still if you want, I will ask sir to write up or demonstrate it to you in the next session. So I think, yeah, Jatinder sir again got connected with us. 1 minute. Yeah,
Sir, mute. Sir, mute.
Yeah, you have muted yourself, Jatinder sir.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it was disconnected.
Yeah, it got disconnected. Okay, sir, the question is from the participant that if he want to display the up to 5 decimal places.
Yes.
Then how should he proceed for that?
So I have forgotten the command actually right now.
Sir, actually there is a command that is called, you can define a function. Basically round 5 is equal to @x 10 raised to the power 5 divided by 10 raised to the power. Then you can execute the command. So you
Yeah,
can
yeah, you can define. Yes, yes, yes. That
Yeah.
way you can proceed.
Yeah, you can create a function. So maybe in the next session, sir, you can demonstrate in your screen.
Yeah, yeah. I was telling about digits. So what came to my mind? Digits 5 would mean that up to how many digits MATLAB you would like to MATLAB to work with, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So significant figures. Digits would mean significant figures.
Significant
Because we are
figure.
more. Alternatively, what you can do is actually you want your output to 5 decimal places, but you would not like to have your output random output up to 5 decimal places. You would like to have correct to 5 decimal places. If you want correct to 5 decimal places, you have to use this digits command. That everywhere MATLAB should consider every calculation up to 5 decimal, exactly to 5 decimal places. And I think the appropriate question should be that how many 5 decimal places if you want your answer correct to. Okay, tolerance is mentioned there. So then you can go ahead with this command, digits command. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I think this is a more appropriate thing which I would like to let you.
Okay, sir, in the next session, please, if you can demonstrate a bit, because the student is asking if you can demonstrate in the next session this command.
Yes, I can demonstrate.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, why not?
So
Yeah.
I think it's 11:30 now. So, sir, we will have a break of half an hour, and after half an hour, we will again rejoin. So please, it's my request to candidates, please join by 11:55 so that at 12 o'clock we can start immediately. Okay, thank you so much, Jatendra sir, for your time. So we will again see you after 25 minutes. Thank you so much, sir.